Cool. It's an opportunity, and I'm fully embracing it. I think it's going to be a fun challenge. I think being able to obviously be at the pinnacle of sports, and that's where you always want to be, to have that opportunity to be on this team and to be able to do that, it's going to be special.
That is Tristan Jarry talking about a new opportunity with the Edmonton Oilers. Welcome back, everybody. We're at Rogers Game Night from the Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth, and we bring aboard our Inside the Game analyst, Rob Brown. And so it is, Rob. Let's get to it. Give me the assessment on the two trades that the Edmonton Oilers made, starting with the acquisition of Tristan Jarry. They also got Samuel Poole, a former first-round pick for the Penguins that hasn't really panned out to date. They give up Stuart Skinner, Brett Kulak, and a second-round pick in 2029.
Well, I think today the Oilers are not as strong defensively. I think you lost a known commodity in Kulak, who has been very good for the Oilers, especially come playoff time. So that is a big loss, and we saw what Kulak was able to do when there was injuries in the playoffs. He could elevate to the top four and was excellent. 3
minutes a game. Yeah, 3 minutes a game.
He was excellent. So that to me is a big loss. I'm not sure that this is a finished product, the Oilers' defense, now that Kulak's not part of it. As for the goaltenders, I did a bunch of Pittsburgh stuff yesterday on their radio station. They were excited to be able to get rid of Jarry's contract. They didn't think it was possible. I did a bunch of Oilers stuff here, and the fans are excited because they moved on from Skinner, and now they've got a goaltender they feel that can take them to the next level. I honestly believe that this will be a trade that we cannot really evaluate and judge until season's end. And if Jarry, who has yet to have success in the playoffs, can he have it here in Edmonton? Does he give them the extra save or two that they need? We don't know that. So I don't think you evaluate what Jarry does tonight, next week, next month. The evaluation of Tristan Jarry and what he does with the Edmonton Oilers will be from April 18th on. That's when you get to see where this trade takes you.
So, Rob, here's where I jump in and say, all right, to get the Edmonton Oilers to the next level. They played in the 7th and 6th game of the Stanley Cup Finals. There was only one goalie. Based on that philosophy, only Bobrovsky was better.
I agree.
Even though we don't have Stuart Skinner in the top 5 goalies in the world, he outdueled a guy we do think is one of the top 5 goalies in the world in back-to-back playoffs, Jake Odger. I have Odger's top 5. So I'll cover Skinner there.
Yep.
And conversely, in the case of Jarry, the body of work in the playoffs, he's had 8 starts. It's a pretty small sample size.
No, it is on both those fronts. I agree. I'm a fan of Skinner, and I felt the Oilers could win the Stanley Cup with Stuart Skinner.
So did I.
And because they were one game, they were a shot away 2 years ago. If McDavid buries that one at the end of the game when he had Bobrovsky down,
we're going overtime.
100%, and the Oilers were the better team in that series, and I thought Skinner played well. So, yes, I believe Skinner, and I'm happy for Skinner. I think Skinner is going to have success now that he's moved on. It will be easier for him to play. As for Jarry, I've watched the Penguins. I always watch him in the playoffs. He has struggled in some of the games.
But he's only played 8 games.
Well, true. But that goes to you got rid of the guy that played 50. So, again, the evaluation of Tristan Jarry doesn't start until the playoffs begin. That's why he's not brought here to have a good regular season. He's brought here to get the Oilers a Stanley Cup championship. So, to me, it's good for Skinner, it's good for Jarry. Hopefully, at the end of the day, this is a trade where both teams win.
All right, let's go to the Ford Keys to the Game, brought to you by Ford, the official partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Ready, set, Ford. I'll give you one right away. Jarry has given up a lot of first shots against, which we saw a bit with Skinner. He's got to get through the nerves of coming to a new team. Give me another key for tonight.
Well, I think there's a couple. One, the Oilers got to take advantage of the fact that there's no Carlo, there's no Tanev on the back end for Toronto. Those are their two defensive defensemen. The Oilers got to take advantage of that. And on the other side, you've got a new goalie coming in. You want to be good defensively. So to me, there's more pressure on a Regula, on an Emberson, and also on Stastny. They're going to be getting more ice time than they're usually getting, so there's going to be more pressure on those players to step up. So those tonight are the keys for me.
All right, that's our Inside the Game analyst, Rob Brown. More with Rob and Brendan Escott during the first and second intermission. Cam Moon has got the night off. he's going to do tomorrow's game. Jack Michaels, who's going to call about 70 games this year for NHL Hockey and Rogers, I'm pleased to say, is in the booth with me tonight, and we are looking forward to it. It's always a beauty coming here to Scotiabank Arena. Jack Michaels up next. The Edmonton Oilers at the Toronto Maple Leafs, live from Scotiabank Arena on Ford Dealers NHL Hockey and the Oilers Radio Network.
Recording resumed. Pause. Button Alt-T.
Well, a hockey night in Canada brings you to Toronto, and it's been an interesting 24 hours, and now we punctuate it with the Edmonton Oilers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. No pressure, Tristan, alongside Bob Stauffer. I'm Jack Michaels with the play-by-play of tonight's game between the Oilers, 14-11-6, 3-0-1 in their last four, and the Maple Leafs, 14-11-5, 4-0-2 in their last six. McDavid, Nugent-Hopkins, and Hyman to start. Ekholm and Bouchard defensively. And yes, Tristan Jarry in net. Here's McDavid and Matthews, and Saturday night in Toronto, here we go, with McDavid winning the opening draw, and it's chipped back inside the Edmonton line. Tonight's starting lineup brought to you by Coventry Homes. Hyman shot forced wide as he entered the zone, top of the right circle. McDavid battling for the rebound. Austin Matthews with goals in back-to-back games up to Max Domi, but the puck doesn't leave the zone, at least initially. Finally cleared by one-time Oiler Troy Stetcher, who not only was picked up on waivers from Toronto, but he's played more than 22 minutes in each of his last 6 games. Coventry Homes, building a home or championship team happens one shift, one brick at a time. Coventry, never done building, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers. A puck funneled through the middle and held by goaltender Dennis Hildeby. Well, Bob, it's just as you predicted on the first day of the regular season. Jarry versus Hildeby.
We all knew that was going
to Toronto goalie match.
We all knew that was going to happen, didn't we? There you go.
Draicidl now between Savoy and Podkolzin. Nurse and Regula, the D pairing out for Edmonton. And of course, yes, Jarry is not the only Oiler in tonight's game making his debut. Spencer Stastny, a fifth rounder of the Preds back in 2018, will be on the third pair with Ty Emerson tonight. Waved at by Bobby McMahon and controlled by Nurse back in his own end. Jarry has Oiler-colored pads on tonight. However, his stick and mask are still adorned in the Pittsburgh Penguins black and gold. William Nylander, a game-time decision today because of illness. He did not take the morning skate. He's able to go as Toronto's leading scorer, but couldn't get started. Draicidl with a turnover in the high slot. Nylander the steal, 11 goals, 34 points this year to Tavares into the slot, grabbed by McMahon, who's coming off a one-game suspension. A redirect by Tavares on net, and a save made by Jarry, who started Thursday for Pittsburgh in a 4-2 loss to Montreal, where he made 25 saves. Puck exits the zone, blasted back in by Benoit. Jarry, 9-3-1 on the year, and a .909 save percentage. And yes, in case you're wondering, the Penguins started Shelovs today because it was a day game and coughed up a 5-1 third period lead in a loss to San Jose. So presumably Stuart Skinner will make his Penguins debut tomorrow when the Penguins play on the second of a back-to-back. Front end of a back-to-back for Edmonton, and they go to work with Janmark centering in tight, and Frederick was denied by Hildeby, a 6'7" goaltender out of Sweden. Driving in from the right-hand side is Stephen Lawrence. He's cut off, however, by Emerson, played up the left-hand boards by Stastny. Was a regular in the Nashville lineup. A puck comes through to the slot, and Jarry directs ahead for Janmark and now Frederick. This line struggled the other night when Edmonton beat Detroit 4-1 on Thursday. A one-timer and a save on Bouchard, set up by Frederick, by Hildeby. The rebound grabbed by Tomashik, and now Curtis Lazar going to work, but he got flattened by Jake McCabe, and out of the zone comes Easton Cowan. Whistled in by the aforementioned Stetcher, who again was picked up on waivers earlier this year from Edmonton. Tomashik off the rush with a right wing wrist shot that's fended off by Hildeby. Bouchard pinches down low. We've played 3 minutes. The Leafs able to clear up the left-hand side. A rolling puck gathered by Ekholm. Referees Furman South and Brian Pakmara. Linesman Bob's favorite, Chandler Alfonso, along with David Brisebois. Looking to clear and eventually funneling it back through the middle and taken by Morgan Riley of Toronto. Stolen by Bouchard, and here's McDavid through Riley and scores! Drags it to his forehand and beats Hildeby. Morgan Riley never picked him up. And Connor McDavid took advantage, busting down the slot and dragging to the forehand for the 1-0 lead for Edmonton. That's his 6th goal in his last 5 games, and he ties Draicidl for the team lead with 17.
Shot out of a cannon. Great little 3-foot pass from Evan Bouchard. Recognized that McDavid was on his horse and he was going, and he was gone.
And Riley has had his tough moments defending Connor McDavid in this building. Famously undressed in a 6-4 Edmonton win about 8 years ago. That one, Riley was just slow to rotate over, didn't recognize the danger at hand, and McDavid just busting down the seam, and Morgan Riley, and we got a high stick. But Colson took one right in the chops, and Edmonton, having grabbed a 1-0 lead, will go to the power play as Max Domi got his stick up high on Connor McDavid. This Oiler power play brought to you by Atco Energy, your trusted Alberta retailer. Learn more at atcoenergy.com. Domi to the box, and the Oilers with an opportunity to take complete control here. Domi high sticking at .338. The reason I say that emphatically is that Edmonton has an excellent record when they get the first goal. 11-1-3 on the season. And this power play, Bob, as you know, extremely hot with 8 goals in its last 6.
And it's up to 32.1%, second in the NHL. Leafs penalty killing's good. It's 11th in the league at 82.1%.
McDavid from Bouchard, his 17th, came in as the league's second leading scorer behind only Nate McKinnon. Belted up the left-hand side off the draw, but McCabe did not get it out. Draicidl moves it over to McDavid. Drag move to the left half boards, and then feeding Bouchard up top high slot. Now McDavid down low, handled by Nugent Hopkins. It's McDavid, little spin move in the high slot. He battles, he beats a man, drops it off. Draicidl to the net, kick save made Hildeby, and again he goes 6'7", eats up a lot of space, but Lawrence didn't clear. Bouchard, however, tried to force it through traffic, and it was deflected away by Scott Lott. Now Bouchard on to McDavid again with blinding speed, cuts around McCabe and gives it up for Nugent Hopkins, who gets it back from Bouchard. Left circle, in front, Hyman denied. What a save, Hildeby. Rebound, Draicidl, and a block shot by McCabe. The net was wide open, and Draicidl fired it right into McCabe. Draicidl, second in the league with 8 power play goals. Here a giveaway. Yarncroke is able to hack it out of the zone. He was limited to 19 games last year, an injury-plagued year, and scored only 1 time. Nearly 5 minutes gone in this first period. Riley the steal off to Yarncroke. A blast off the glove of Tristan Jarry, and then a big hop over the crossbar and back into the slot. But no harm, no foul, as the Oilers were able to grab control of the puck. Here's McDavid, tried to slither one inside to Nugent Hopkins, broken up by Simon Benoit, and ahead to Matthew Nye, short-handed with McDavid back. Nye shoots, and a save made. Tristan Jarry poised as can be. He'll freeze it with 5 1/4 gone by in the first. Top unit will come off, second unit on for the final 23 seconds of this Atco power play.
Well, Zach Hyman, the hat trick the other night. Of course, the owner right now, Jack, of the best team in junior hockey with 5 NHL first-round draft picks. Though a bunch of them are off at World Junior Camps. Brantford. His brother Spencer running that team.
Off the draw, McCabe wisely back to Stetcher, and Bob, it looks like Toronto's just going to milk some clock here and wipe out the remaining power play time, but still an outstanding start for Edmonton. And McDavid, playing about a half hour from his hometown of Newmarket, is flying. McCabe, no surprise, that's his 19th career point in 12 games in this building.
But the Oilers, Toronto's had Edmonton's number, as you know.
19-4-2 in the last 25 games between these two clubs. And we told you again earlier, 13-2-1 the last 16 here in Toronto, and a cover by Hildeby on a dump-in. Hildeby's playing because both Joseph Woll and Anthony Stolars are out due to injury. Little scrum in the corner, but nothing major, Bob.
Yeah, Stolars he had a great year last year. Just been okay so far this year at 884. Wall has been very good. Jack, I do want to mention, this is the first time Nicola Waugh has played against Trent Frederick since he cross-checked him in the face. You recall Game 5, Vegas, a game that was ended by Kasperi Kapanen's overtime winner.
Nick Waugh, of course, one of the key pieces in the deal that sent Mitch Marner out west. Toronto dealing with that loss. Off the draw, Stastny. Emberson is shot through a screen, and Hildeby is able to lay it to rest. Dennis Hildeby, a fourth-round pick of the Leafs in 2022, the same year he won a Swedish Elite League title with Fjarstad. Is that right? Is that the right pronunciation?
Fjarstad, yes.
Fjarstad, yeah.
Close enough.
I struggle with those Swedish pronunciations. Then was an all-star in the American Hockey League last year, went 3-3 for the Leafs. And pressed into duty, he's played very well. In 7 starts, a .934 save percentage. Stastny fumbles it briefly. Now Janmark behind the Toronto net, nudged on net, a save made Hildeby. And then Janmark couldn't get it cleanly on net with a rebound, and Nylander will skate it up ice. Tavares across the Edmonton line. Toronto in the blue and white, attacking from right to left in this first period of play. They lead it 1-0. McDavid from Bouchard. Frederick lays it off to Janmark. The Oilers left to right in the white uniforms, trimmed with blue and orange. McMahon bumps it in, but he was not yet at center, so this is an icing call against the Leafs. 13-17 to go in the first period. It remains 1-0 Edmonton.
Well, as you know, Bobby McMahon is from Wainwright, Alberta. You played at one of your dad's favorite schools.
Bobby McMahon at
Colgate.
Colgate.
Yes.
Well, that's my grandfather.
Your grandfather.
Sorry, that's what threw me off. Yes, my grandfather, for reference, it's the Colgate. And,
right.
And they were, for years, known as the Red Raiders. But he insisted that the correct pronunciation was Colgate,
well,
which made no sense to anyone in the family and remains kind of a Michaels family legend to this day. It's a nonsensical story, and Toronto takes an ice call off the draw.
We're going to talk about Bobby a bit more here because he has really developed as a player. Adam Huxley is a former Oiler. He runs camp out of the Wainwright-Irma area, and they are producing a disproportionate amount of kids right now. And the skill development that's going on is certified through the Gary Roberts program and really elevated a lot of those players in central Alberta.
Put Colson out to Darnell Nurse. A shot deflected back behind the net. Chipped up the left-hand side. Alec Regula winds it down low. McDavid in front looking for Draicidl. That was broken up as McDavid and Draicidl getting a look with Podkolzin. Here's McMahon trying to squeeze through a crevice in the Oiler defense, but Nurse and Regula able to close out on him quickly. Now Matthews twists one in front. Austin Matthews, by his standards, a quiet year to this point. 13 goals. Here's Draicidl in across the line. Bouchard's late getting there, and it's an offside whistled against Edmonton. We'll take time out with 7 1/2 gone by in this first period. Connor McDavid from Evan Bouchard. McDavid stays hot. His 17th of the year at .325. The difference right now, it's the Oilers 1, the Leafs no score. We're live from Toronto's Scotiabank Arena with 4 dealers, NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Recording resumed.
McDavid digs in against Austin Matthews for a neutral zone draw. 1-0. McDavid pulls it free. Bouchard from Ekholm. McDavid already has scored in this game. Both teams playing much better, and we have a deflected puck that rolls right at the feet of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. A drive from the point, and Hyman unable to come up with a rebound. The shot initially taken by Bouchard. McDavid at center, streaking in left-hand side. Oilers currently hold a wild card spot in the Western Conference. Toronto's 2 points out of a spot in the tightly compressed Eastern Conference. Leafs got off to a decent start, then slumped badly, winning just 2 of 10 games at one point. Here's McDavid to Nugent-Hopkins, a wrist shot, and that went through Hildeby, but then climbed up on the plexi and ended up sailing out of play. While the Oilers beat the Red Wings 4-1 on Thursday, the Leafs coughed up a 2-0 lead and lost in overtime to San Jose on Thursday. It's the 5th blown lead of 2 goals or more for Toronto this season. Last year in 82 games, Bob, that happened to Toronto exactly 4 times.
Yeah. Well, San Jose's proven they can come back on a lot of teams, Jack.
No kidding. Off the draw, Stastny steps up with a shot, and that's off the glove of goaltender Hildeby, who does not seem to be fielding pucks all that cleanly. Fair to say?
Yep.
Played up the right-hand side by Emberson, held in by Morgan Riley. Chipped off the left-hand glass, settled by Yarncroke. That sails wide. And Edmonton hasn't lost in regulation in its last 4. Toronto hasn't lost in regulation in its last 6. So both teams playing better than they were earlier in the season. Ekman-Larsson, a big part of that for Toronto. He's having a resurgent offensive campaign. Got it ahead for Lawton, and it's dumped into the corner. Regula back to collect, off to Darnell Nurse, and now Mangiapane with 11 minutes to go in the first period. Here's Curtis Lazar challenging Henry Thrun. Toronto missing 2 key defensemen in Chris Tanev and Brandon Carlo, and then it was healed wide by Tomashik on a sweet feed from Mangiapane. Lazar back to the point, Nurse across to Regula, right-hand side, and then shot wide by Tomashik, grabbed by Lawrence, and one-handed safely up the right-hand side. Streaking in and ultimately cut off at the last moment was Cowan, the rookie out of the Ontario Hockey League with the London Knights. Here's Tomashik, a backhander from the left circle, stopped by Hildeby. Again, a bit of an awkward save. Rebound, Cowan did not get it out. Draicidl had it poked away, but Mangiapane will keep it alive. Draicidl across, drag move, Bouchard loading up, backdoor play, and then one extra pass. I'm surprised at the last moment Mangiapane
Shoot the puck.
I was going to say, tried to feather that one through to Matt Savoy when the play there was shot. McMahon won a battle. Tavares in the offensive zone for Toronto. Pulls it behind the net up to Morgan Riley. A redirect by Tavares sails wide. Ekman-Larsson creates for William Nylander. Right side, Bobby McMahon. Checked by Draicidl. McMahon tries to fight him off and does so. Nylander, a centering pass. One-timer. Ekman-Larsson and a kick save by Jari. Here's Draicidl up the left-hand side. Held in by Morgan Riley. And now Nylander on top of the puck for Toronto. We've been told Jari has quick feet, and he showed it on that particular stop. Ekman-Larsson able to reel in an Oiler clear as both teams make wholesale changes in personnel. 9 1/4 remaining in the first period. Here's Knives backhanding it along the boards for Domi. Matthews out of the reach. Now Matthew Knives taken off the puck, and once again McDavid has a little extra juice tonight. Gets it back from Hyman across the line. One-timer, Nurse just wide. Rebound, swing and a miss. Hyman had the whole right side of the net, but did not make contact with the puck. McDavid waits for contact from McCabe, then gives it up for Nurse. High slot, you've got Hyman coming off a hat trick, the 6th of his Oiler career, turned it over. 2-on-1. It's Benoit, shot by Nyes, a rebound, grabbed by Regula as Jari made the initial save, and the puck eventually exits the zone. Riley will force it back in.
Zach Hyman a bit high in the offensive zone. He's usually the little support guy, and he turned the puck over there, and the Oilers evaded disaster.
8:15 to go in the first. Oilers cough it up as they hit the Toronto line. Riley left side and spilled in by Nick Waugh. Slow going for Waugh offensively. He's usually about a 15-goal man. He only has 2 for Toronto. Riley across, Ekman-Larsson a shot, and that was pushed wide. Rebound Riley. Again fires wide of the net. Clatters off the boards. Ekman-Larsson up top for Calle Yarncroke. down low. No one really in vicinity there, as it was Spencer Stastny off to Trent Frederick, who will advance up through center. Checked by Ekman-Larsson off the puck. Yarncroke across to Riley. 7:40 to go. A good pace to this first period. And Edmonton with a 1-0 lead. McDavid from Bouchard. Spilled in by Lawton. Directing traffic will be Jarry. It's Matthias Ekholm with a puck for the Oilers. Right side for Bouchard. Then back to Ekholm. Fed along by Mangiapane. And what do we have? Offside. Mangiapane in prematurely. 7:20 to go first period. A timeout from Toronto. The Oilers have grabbed a 1-0 lead on the road against the Leafs. Connor McDavid is 17th of the year. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network. 7 minutes, 20 seconds remain in the first period. Connor McDavid has given Edmonton a 1-0 lead. Oilers opening up a 5-game road trip, front end of a back-to-back. They'll be in Montreal tomorrow. Edmonton actually will have easier travel after the game than will the Canadians, who are in Madison Square Garden. So they've got to cross the border. They'll get in later tonight in Montreal than will the Edmonton Oilers, who beat Montreal and come from behind fashion 6-5 earlier this season at Rogers Place, in a game that was frightfully flawed but fabulously entertaining.
Yes.
Draicidl from Bouchard. He'll gain the line. Dish off. A blast. Ekholm and a save made by Dennis Hildeby, who's being backed up tonight by Artur Akhtiamov. Easy for me to say. Another rookie.
Well, you're the only one that's going to say it in tonight's broadcast.
Well, who knows? As you pointed out, the Oilers could easily have 3 already in this first period.
They've had a good period. They're skating tonight.
And I think Hildeby's fighting the puck a little bit. Draicidl off the draw. We'll see as the game develops, but he's been a little bit fortunate. But Colson couldn't clean that one up off the draw, but Bouchard holds the zone. Draicidl with a turnover in the high slot. A steal made by Nylander, looking left wing for McMahon, and that's off target. Here's Bouchard up the left-hand side, but Colson works his way in. Played a great game against the Detroit Red Wings the other night as Edmonton won 4-1 to punctuate a 3-1-1 homestand. Here's Ekholm behind the net for Draicidl. Lost the puck again. Cleared by McCabe, but not out. Held in by Regula. Slide step to his left. Beautiful move around McCabe. And then shot it wide. He was looking for his first goal since April of 2022. Nurse will wire it back in for the Oilers, and it's settled by Hildeby. McCabe to Troy Stetcher. And now McCabe, right-hand side. Max Domi right in front of the Toronto bench. He'll just pop it back. The Leafs are 9-4-5 at home. They've had a number of wild games in this building. Lots of lead changes. Most in the league by venue. Here's Knies, a shot from the point that drifted wide. And if you're wondering how could that be a statistic, I wondered too until I read it. Here's Hyman clearing back to center. Austin Matthews creating for Knies. He momentarily stumbled with that puck and then fed it back down low for Matthews, who took his eye off it, and that allowed Alec Regula to play it without any trouble up through center. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, a point-per-game player this season for the Oilers, hoisted in deep. Around the boards, Benoit. Left side, big hit on Knies by Ty Emberson, who also was strong against Detroit on Thursday night. Oilers salvaged a split of the season series with the Red Wings. They'll see Toronto on home ice in February, right before the Olympic break. Here's Knies. Chipping it back to Ekman-Larsson. Benoit flipped it behind Emberson and grabbed by Stastny up the right-hand side. Turned over and then across and blasted high and wide off a feed by Nick Waugh. Nick Robertson unable to make the connection. Here's Frederick in deep for Adam Henrique. And a long dry spell for Henrique without a goal in his last 23 games. Stastny, he scored once for Nashville this season before being acquired for a third-round pick yesterday. He had no idea. I talked to him and he said he hadn't a clue. He was totally shocked by the deal. Janmark up the right-hand side. Easton counting on him, threw it across, and that was broken up. Ekholm Chip back through the middle. Jake McCabe at the blue line, up to Cowan, too far, and now Bouchard on it. Tomashik in across the line, hacked away by Morgan Riley. Bouncing puck corralled by Stephen Lawrence, and now Cowan looking for Lawton on his backhand. A save, Jari, rebound, score. Easton Cowan ties the game for Toronto with his 4th of the season. And the Oilers give up a goal off the rush.
Evan Bouchard giveth, and they just took one away from him. He 50-50 decision on a puck that was in the air at the blue line, and he couldn't knock it down, and that started the transition. Tomashik was there at backside support, but they got the shot on the net. And then Bouchard couldn't quite get back on Cowan. Tie game.
And that was a twisting backhander from Lawton, and it had some English on it, and I think that's what gave Jari trouble controlling the rebound as far as that was concerned.
But it was a transition. It starts back at the Toronto blue line. Bouchard went for it, couldn't negotiate contact, and away they went.
Off the center ice face-off, Regula to Matthew Savoy. Cowan is 4th of the year from Scott Lawton at 16:03. Cowan, in his last 100 games for the London Knights, scored 63 goals.
It's unreal in their back-to-back OHL championship wins.
Late first-round pick of the Leafs, 28th overall in 2023. And he has tied this game as Toronto looks to continue its mastery of Edmonton. Here's Draicidl shaking off a check from Nylander around the boards for Alec Regula. Now you've got Draicidl hovering in the high slot. Edmonton looking to get it right back here. Darnell Nurse to the net with a backhander, and that's tipped off the side of the net. Rebound available. Draicidl hooked by Nylander. I'm surprised there was no call there. Draicidl served it up for Regula. Lawrence will get an assist, and now Tavares took it away from Regula, and he might have a breakaway. Tavares is in. Denied! Tristan Jarry with the save on John Tavares, who came in with 13 goals on the season. Draicidl, beautiful feed, backhander. Oh, what a save by Hildeby as he stopped Podkolzin. Back-to-back point-blank denials from the two goaltenders. Jarry at one end, and then Hildeby at the other. The score remains tied at 1. Chances aplenty, Bob.
Yep. Great save by Hildeby after a terrific stop from Jarry.
Here's McDavid. Button hooking and dropping it off for Ekholm as we approach 2 minutes to play in the first. Bouchard had it poked away by Nyes. Kept it alive for McDavid against Max Domi. A shot, and that was swallowed up by Nyes. They'll roll this one up the right-hand side, and they're going to wave it off. Shandor Alfonso, that's your guy, Bobby. Can't get too down on him.
The old Lakehead Thunderwolf.
Here's Ekholm, a strike to Hyman. He couldn't split the defense. Reeled in at the last second by Riley, and now Nick Robertson the other way. Stastny is back and played it well. Just forced him right off the puck. He was physical that time. We've heard more about Stastny skating, but that time he played Nick Robertson exceptionally well. Frees the puck up for McDavid. 90 seconds to go in the period. The game tied at 1. Janmark takes an outlet pass at center. And now Frederick with Emberson joining the rush, but the pass to Emberson never reached him. Frederick, though, plows into Morgan Riley, and he looks to control. Took 14 stitches on a puck that hit him in the face at practice the other day. Cowan, who just tied the game, emerges from the fray with puck possession for Toronto. Ekman Larson, they're going to wave off icing again. Darnell Nurse back to collect for Edmonton with under a minute to play in this first period. The Oilers and Leafs, a lot of pace to this one, and we're tied at 1. It's been a good hockey game to this point. Here's Adam Henrique, left to right for the Oilers. Staggers his way through the middle. Alec Regula. And that puck disappears out of play as it got up on the heel of Regula's stick. 39 seconds remaining. In fact, I think that initial move, McDavid on Riley, is the last time. Well, the Oilers won an overtime game in here, did they not? Because Toronto was 6-0-1 in the last 7 in this building. So I think there's an overtime or a shootout victory somewhere scattered in those 7 years.
They played some extra games, you know, that one year.
Yes, the 1 year that you and I kind of, it's all fuzzy. Speaking of fuzzy, they've decided to take a break here. With 39 seconds to go, we'll take one as well. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey with a game tied at 1. The Oilers Radio Network.
Recording resumed.
Tavares winning a draw against Connor McDavid, but Ekholm was able to snatch the puck away. And now, with the Oilers loading up for the final minute in this first period, Draicidl tries to maintain down low. He can't do it, however. Matthews ahead for John Tavares. Snap back to Matthews. A shot to save. Jarry rebound. Cleared out of danger by McDavid. That was a smart play by the Oiler captain. 13 seconds to go. Ekholm may be guilty of an icing call here. The whistle with 8.9 remaining. Toronto did the same thing. They put Matthews and Tavares together, and Jarry had to make a difficult save.
Yeah, it was a good stop from him, and I think Leon Draicidl a little frustrated. Maybe the T.S. Ekholm didn't kill the clock. And so an important D-zone draw here now for, it's going to be McDavid against Matthews. Toronto's best face-off team in the NHL, Jack.
But Edmonton's fifth, 57% to 53%. Two elite teams in that regard. McDavid pulls it free from Matthews, and he will kill the clock with a feed to Bouchard behind the net. And that will be all for a tense and exciting opening period. The Oilers outshoot the Leafs 12-10. They have to settle for a 1-1 tie as Easton Cowan got the goal scored by McDavid back late in the period. So the Oilers strike early, the Leafs tie it late. But Bob, I thought there was a lot of pace to that first period, an entertaining game. You and I have said it before, these Oilers-Leafs matchups are typically quite exciting. But at the end of the day, it's usually the Toronto fans that are happy. They dominated the series. What do you make of the first period? What do you make of both Jarry and Stastny?
Jarry was good. Stastny was rock solid. But the Oilers, I think, probably could have scored 3 goals. They might rue the day. They missed a couple opportunities, some real good chances. And then there we go.
So we have Spencer Stastny available. So he's making his Oiler debut. And Spencer, I guess I'd ask you right off the hop, the Oilers and Leafs typically play these high-pace, high-energy type of games. How did you find your first 20 minutes in Oiler colors?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was high-paced, especially seeing some guys out there just going end-to-end. But, no, I think it's good. MB's making it easy for me, just making some predictable reads in the back end. But, yeah, I'm definitely moving after a big travel day yesterday.
Yeah, you mentioned Ty Emerson. Maybe educate our listeners. You know, how much did you guys obviously you know each other from your days of the U.S. National Development Program. How much did you play together?
We were together off and on for those 2 years, so somewhere between probably 20, 40 games. But, you know, I was on his team, watched his game, and have kept up with his career since until now. So, no, I'm familiar with him, and we're close, and it's just it's awesome to play with him again.
Welcome to Oil Country, Spencer. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Spencer.
Thank you.
Spencer, you know, it's funny for both Spencer Stastny, less so for Tristan Jarry. I mean, Spencer Stastny, what is he looking at? A total of 81. This is his 82nd game. He's completing basically a full NHL campaign the night. Hockey Night in Canada in Toronto, a team that the other fans, of course, love to hate, and that's your debut.
Yeah. Well, he had a good first period. He had one misplay with the puck, but he was there in the right spots. He can get there. I mean, let's face it, Jack. He's sort of like a younger, cheaper version of Brett Kulak. Like he's a left shot. He can skate. Kulak can skate. Kulak's a little bit bigger. I wouldn't call Kulak overly physical.
But he does have that playoff pedigree.
Well, and he played great.
That's what you can't replace.
And Paul Coffey. But you know what? When Kulak was with the Canadians, he wasn't like they had that top 3, and then they really reduced minutes. And the reality is, Kulak wants to play 22 minutes a game, and he's going to be a free agent this summer. And Jerry Johansson's got him, and he's going to be one of the top 3 UFA free agent defensemen out there. And the Oilers when they went and signed Jake Wallman to a 7-year deal at $7 million. That was the tell for Brett Kulak. So, anyways, you got to give to get.
Kulak will probably command, 4.5 on the open market?
He's at least going to get CC money. Okay. Right? I think you would agree on that, right?
That's why I threw out 4.5.
Yeah, so there you go, times 4. So, but from an Edmonton perspective, good first period for Jarry. He'll tell you maybe he could have done a little bit better on the rebound control on that goal. I'm with you. It was sort of an awkward, tough shot to read. I'm more upset about there were 2 bad giveaways in that period that fueled Toronto's transition game. One by Bouchard and one by Leon Draicidl. That can't happen. Not Not if you're going to play, not if you're going to go have any length in terms of playing. But the one that I did like is Edmonton created a lot off the rush, and Connor McDavid is just flying tonight.
And I didn't mind Edmonton's power play, but in retrospect, that was a chance for kind of an early stranglehold on the game, and now you're dead even through 20 minutes. So, with that being said, we've got Rob Brown and Brendan Escott anxiously awaiting their take on the opening 20 minutes in Toronto. The Oilers, the Leafs, tied at 1 after 1 on the Oilers Radio Network. Oiler Country 50-50 presented by Rogers, now live. 20 pairs of Oilers tickets and Adam Henrique's signed game-worn gloves are among your early bird prizes. Right now, your grand jackpot is in excess of $415,000. We are tied at 1. McDavid, who scored in the first period against Austin Matthews, on the draw, and here we go. Oilers right to left in the second period in a place and against a team that has dominated them for the better part of a decade and a half. Here's Hyman battling Matthew Nyes. Trying to shake it free is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, joined by McDavid, who pulls it back for Bouchard, who set him up for the first goal of the game about 3.5 minutes in. But late in the first period, the equalizer, Easton Cowan scoring on a rebound off the rush of a shot from Scott Laughton. Matthews forces it down low for Nyes, taken away by Evan Bouchard, and a beautiful dart to Connor McDavid. Back defensively is Troy Stecher, and McDavid tried to thread one through his former teammate, and that was broken up. Stecher played 79 games in all for the Oilers. He was banged up at times, and 8 more in the playoffs. Very popular teammate. Nylander. 3 consecutive 40-goal seasons for William Nylander. Game time decision, he was sick this morning. Tavares, and a shot sent wide by Morgan Riley. A rebound snagged by Draicidl. It was Riley who was victimized by McDavid on Edmonton's first goal. His outlet to Nylander, a snapshot high and wide against Tristan Jarry, making his Oiler debut. 9-3-1 on the year. And he made his 300th start in the National Hockey League in this building earlier this season. Toronto's Tavares with a turnover at center. Nurse bumped it ahead for Draicidl. Across to Podkolzin. Shadowed by Tavares. Got it back from Alec Regula and feeds him again. Regula right point. He'll move it for Leon Draicidl. Now sharing the team lead with 17 goals. McDavid's tied him. Savoy watches as Draicidl tries to work his way through Simon Benoit, who played him well. Give Benoit credit. Draicidl near the end of his shift. He wants a change, but Colson had his stick lifted by Tavares. And finally, Toronto will control. At times, and I talked to Scott Laughton about this morning, he was saying, like Edmonton, Leafs spent a lot of time in their own zone in the first 25 games of the year. Frederick up the right-hand side, dances through Robertson. Worked his way past Ekman Larsson, threw it around the boards, cut off for a moment by Benoit, and then Frederick, with help from Henrique, able to regain possession on the left half wall, then flicked dangerously into the slot, but Ekman Larsson was on it, and Robertson funnels it back through center. Ekman Larsson kind of redefining himself in the second half of his career. Offensive resurgence this year. Janmark steps up, a shot redirected. Tough save made by Hildeby on Henrique. That was a great chance. Nick Wall to Robertson. Ekman Larsson won a cup with Florida in 24. But a far cry from his 20-goal per season days in Arizona.
Buyout by Vancouver. He's on the hook for a couple more years. They're on the hook for a couple more years there still.
Lawrence, well, they've just traded their best player. I mean, they're in a world of hurt.
Maybe their best player ever.
Here's Thrun. Shot Morgan Riley, and that sailed wide of Tristan Jarry. Flicked back down low by Lawrence. And now you've got Ekholm getting worked over by Cowan. Bustling his way through was Evan Bouchard. And yes, we have seen, as you can hear Bob's anguished cries, a couple of stick infractions that have not been called on either side tonight. In on the forecheck and trying to create space for Mangiapane is Curtis Lazar. But the puck ultimately grabbed by Stecher, who hustles it through the neutral zone. Drops it off. Shot from distance and a kick save made on Lawrence by Tristan Jarry. Rebound McDavid. On to Mangiapane. And he'll kick it back for Darnell Nurse.
You often see the second chop called. It wasn't that time.
Regula, center ice. Hyman, back toward Nurse. Well, they're letting him play. I mean, we've had one power play in the game, and it was Edmonton right after the Oilers had scored. Couldn't cash in, and the Leafs tied it late in the period, back 5-on-5. Nurse shoots it in. McCabe calmly. Matthews lead pass through everyone, and Jari's going to freeze it with Nyes bearing down on him. 4.5 gone by in the second period, and the game tied at 1. Front end of a back-to-back for Edmonton. Bob will be joined by Cam Moon in the booth tomorrow. That's a 5 Mountain Time start against the Canadiens. Should be a good one, and Montreal's putting the boots to New York tonight. 3-0 at last report.
Yeah, Rangers are no good at home, though, Jack. You know that. They're real good on the road, but they're not that good at home.
Face-off win for Matthews. Riley hits Matthews. Right circle wrist shot, and that went up over top. Came off the glass. Nyes. And to Matthews. Tried to center. McDavid broke that one up. Max Domi held the puck in. Showing one-timer. Matthews in front and a save on Domi. Rebound score. Ekman-Larsson. Toronto zipped it around. And Ekman-Larsson has given the Maple Leafs a 2-1 lead.
Lost the D-zone draw for Edmonton. And then Nurse and Regula. Regula went to play the puck in the corner, got tied up. Strong stick, and the Leafs hit Ekman-Larsson. And you said it, he has reinvented himself here. They had 2 cracks at it from distance and beaten Jarry to the glove side. It's 2-1 Toronto.
Bottom line is, Bob, you can't let the Leafs just snap it around in your own zone like that.
No.
And that's exactly what happened. Well, Domi and Nyes will get the assists. But Matthews set it up with the initial feed to Domi where Jarry made an excellent save. Yeah. But then the Oilers give away 2 more slot passes, Bob. I mean, that was not a great sequence.
That pairing at times has had some problems, Jack. The Nurse-Regula pairing.
Shoved up by Podkolzin. Well, we saw Regula with a turnover that led to a breakaway in the first period. Here's Bouchard to Ekholm. A little beyond the reach of Savoy. He took a healthy pop from McCabe, who's a hard, rugged defenseman. Now you're going to get a hooking call. And John Tavares is saying, where's the standard been set? But he got into the midsection of Podkolzin, and that was kind of somewhere in the middle of the stick infractions we've seen tonight. But Tavares will be sent off.
That's a tough call based on what we've not seen called tonight.
So time to the penalty, 5:22. The Leafs having taken their first lead on Ekman-Larsson's 5th goal of the year. Domi and Nyes with the helpers, but now Edmonton will have a chance to tie it on the Atco power play. Atco Energy, your trusted Alberta retailer. McDavid, Draicidl, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and Bouchard, your power play quintet. Oilers 8 for their last 18 on the man advantage. Came in second only to Pittsburgh. Now they're not going to catch the Penguins. Penguins scored a couple more on the power play today before blowing that 5-1 lead. Draicidl wins the faceoff. Bouchard, Nugent Hopkins on a one-timer ripped wide by Draicidl, who has 8 power play goals, fed by McDavid, who has 5 in front. Hyman, the puck available just outside the blue paint and finally curled to the corner. McDavid to Bouchard, high slot, dishing off. It's Leon Draicidl beneath the face-off dot. Good play by McCabe to disrupt for Nugent Hopkins. Now McDavid from the left half boards. Bouchard back to McDavid, left face-off dot, Nugent Hopkins. McDavid waiting, shooting short side, a save made. Rebound Draicidl, save made by Hildeby. Here's Bouchard getting it up top to McDavid. In front, one-timer, Draicidl stopped by Hildeby. He may be a rookie, but he's gone to school on the Oiler power play. McDavid to Bouchard between circles. Oilers will not let the Leafs get a clear here. Toronto's tired. McDavid goes right around Lawton, cross ice, tipped by McCabe. Draicidl settles. Now Bouchard, 50 seconds on the power play. Draicidl Little give and go with Nugent Hopkins. No return pass. Now finally to Draicidl. Just above the goal line. A tip by Nugent Hopkins. A save made. A rebound attempted clear by McCabe. Settled by Draicidl. Up top for Bouchard. McDavid left circle. Dashing toward the net. Circling. Gliding up top. One-timer Bouchard and a save made. Hildeby tremendous with the blocker. And when the rebound dropped in front of him, he was able to swim it back into his midsection in one motion. That was his best work of the night.
Yeah. The only thing that I'd say there is Troy Stetcher had boxed Zach Hyman out of in front of the net. The Oilers really didn't have a net in front on that shot from Bouchard, but the Oilers had the Leafs running around and a good stop from Hildeby. And he's played well since McDavid got him on the breakaway.
Well, and we didn't like how he was seeing the puck early. He settled in.
They didn't get to him. Yeah.
Bouchard to Nugent Hopkins, a tip by Benoit. Same five out there. McDavid lost his glove, and now a clear by Nicholas Waugh. And let's see whether the Oilers' top unit is inclined to come off. Nugent Hopkins and Hyman will. Draicidl and McDavid stay out there. And here's Draicidl dashing down the right-hand side, shooting! And that was tipped and off the pads eventually of Hildeby. And now Benoit will slam it down the ice. And the Oilers' power play comes to an end. The hook by Tavares does not hurt Toronto. But on the other hand, Edmonton didn't lose any kind of momentum on that power play. Henrique to Janmark, driving to the net with a shot and a kick save made by Hildeby. Here's Nurse, a tip by Henrique in front, punched away by Benoit. Rebound Austin Matthews. I was going to say, Bob, that's about as hard as we've seen Janmark shoot the puck as an Oiler. Chipping it in deep as Matthew Nyes got inside of Stastny, threw it across, no one home, and Janmark angles one off the boards back into the zone. There's still a broken blade on the ice that seemed to bother Henry Thrun, the one-time San Jose Shark. It's just his second game with the Leafs. He's been down with the Marlies in the American League. Here's Max Domi chipping it in right-hand side. Remember the injuries to Chris Tanev and Brandon Carlo, the veteran Maple Leafs defensive corps, banged up right now. Emerson with Matthews bearing down on him. Henrique looking to get it out of the zone. Matthews sent it back to center, and we have a hand pass whistled against Toronto. Neutral zone faceoff upcoming with 11.5 to go in the second period. When we return, but the Leafs have taken their first lead of the night. Oliver Ekman-Larsson's fifth of the year, and it's Toronto 2, Edmonton 1. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, live from Scotiabank Arena in downtown Toronto. The Oilers Radio Network 2-1 hockey game in favor of the Maple Leafs. Edmonton just 6 wins in his last 25 meetings with Toronto. Couple of hard luck losses last year, 4-3 in overtime in this building, and then 4-3 in regulation in Edmonton, a game they trailed 4-1, mounted a furious rally, and the Leafs were able to hang on.
That was this. Remember, they pulled a goal off the board too, and John Klingberg offside where Draicidl thought he tied it.
Lazar won a face-off in the neutral zone, but the puck comes free, and it's Bobby McMahon off to Henry Thrun. Leafs and the Oilers, very similar records. Edmonton enters tonight 3 games over the 500 mark for the first time this season at 14-11-6. Not sure many people would have had that 31 games into the year. But another slow start for the Oilers, starting to build their game. And they come in here on a 3-0-1 stretch. Quick dish by Stastny ahead to Mangiapane. Now Draicidl. And his shot smothered by Benoit.
Blown opportunity there.
Good defensive play, though. Give Benoit credit. Here's Nylander across. That puck reeled in by Robertson. Tavares is the center on this line. A shot by Riley from distance. Easy save made by Tristan Jarry. Oilers have outshot the Leafs 20-16, and they trail on the scoreboard 2-1. Here's Savoy using a screen against Calle Jarnkrok. Flipped in by Podkolzin. Of course, a big reason why Pittsburgh was a first-place team early in the year. Tristan Jarry got off to a 9-2 start in net. Was in the minors as recently as last year. 2 separate stints, including one on waivers. Here's Draicidl in front. Savoy kept it alive, but over-skating it was Regula. Coming down the left-hand side is Robertson against Podkolzin. He finds Stetcher, and then Stetcher trying to hit Nicholas Waugh, missed the target. And that puck fluttered harmlessly into the corner, regained by Regula, who's had his challenges tonight. Makes a move around Max Domi, hits center ice, backhands it towards Stecher. That was batted down and ultimately ruled to have been played with a high stick by the former Oiler. And so with 9:42 to go in the second period, we'll take time out. Oilers offensive zone draw coming next. We're live from Toronto. The Maple Leafs 2, the Edmonton Oilers 1. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Recording.
2-1 hockey game in favor of Toronto. Connor McDavid opened the scoring 3.5 in. Cowan tied it late in the first period for the Maple Leafs, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, the veteran D-man, now in his 16th year, has made it 2-1 for the Leafs here in the second. We're 30 minutes complete, 30 to go. McDavid and Matthews face off in the offensive zone. This one won by Matthews, who continues to be a solid defensive player. Here's McDavid running around. McCabe, short side, and rammed home. What a feed. We are tied at 2. Hildeby slid over, but he was powerless as McDavid banks one in.
Yeah. You called it. I mean, he was going for Hyman.
He'll take it.
Yeah.
It's his second of the night. Second 2-goal game in his last 3. And he now has taken over the team lead with 18 goals. 7 of which have been in his last 5 games. Connor McDavid, the centering pass, and I believe Stecher put it in his own net. Trying to take it away from Hyman. And here's Matthew Nyes driving in from the left-hand side. Banked one off the corner boards. Connor McDavid, both goals tonight for the Oilers. And we are tied once again. Matthew Nyes, side of the net, and Jari's going to be freezing that. 9:10 to go, second period. We'll have to get another look at it, but live speed, I thought Stecher put it in his own net.
I'm going to go with you on that one as well. I agree.
And again, Stetcher's trying to make the right play. As you said, the pass intended for Hyman, Stetcher's trying to flick it out of danger. Instead, he puts it in his own net. And judging by the expression on his face and his consoling of Hildeby, and he's tapping it on his chest, my guess or intuition proved correct for once. Face-off win for Curtis Lazar, ripped around the boards by Spencer Stastny.
I got you right 3 times over the last
16 years.
16 seasons.
Here's Trent Frederick down the right-hand side. How magnanimous of you. Shot by Emerson and a save made by goaltender Dennis Hildeby. 8:54 to go, second period, and this game is all even. Connor McDavid's second of the game and 18th of the year will be an unassisted goal at 10:29. Brand new hockey game. Each team has held the lead at various points. Pretty close, really. I mean, the Oilers are 5th in the league in scoring. Toronto 6th. Edmonton, a pretty dreadful 26th in goals against. Toronto, a mediocre 20th. Both teams kind of struggling out of the gate. Both teams playing much better hockey over the last couple of weeks. And both teams have had injuries at key positions. Oilers are the healthier bunch right now, but they still don't have Kapanen and Roslovic, a pair of top 9 forwards.
And Wallman, a top 40.
Here's a quick dish up the left-hand side to Stephen Lawrence. Henry Thrun up the gut. Lawrence able to recover, whistled it off Cowan. Emberson up the right-hand side, cut off by Thrun. The Harvard University product up to Easton Cowan. He waits. He waits further. Dishes off. Thrun, still no shot. Now letting it go. Backhander to save. Jari, he stopped Lawrence, who was in tight. Tell you what, this Toronto fourth line has been around it all night, Bob.
They work.
Chipped out by Stastny. He took a pop from Lawton, and it's really set. I mean, Scott Lawton, I'll be honest with you, Bob, he's one of my favorite guys. He is a hard-working, rugged bottom 6 forward. Chipped up the left-hand side. Mangiapane up to Curtis Lazar.
To me, he's a third liner that they're playing on the fourth line.
True. But I think you'd agree, his offensive upside has always been limited.
Right.
12, 15 goals is probably the most you're going to get out of him. Nicholas Waugh up the right-hand side. But boy, he plays hard and he makes life miserable for skilled center icemen around the league. Nick Waugh and Nick Robertson and Calle Yarncroke in on the forecheck for Toronto. Pried loose by Regula. Riley joins the fray. Waugh bulldozed by Lazar. Around the boards, ultimately settled by Ekman-Larsson. Toss back down low, Nick Waugh took a hit. He got wallpapered by Lazar. Robertson tried to squeeze inside. Nurse the outlet to Mangiapane, and here come the Oilers. That's going to be stymied by Stetcher up the right-hand side, taken by Mangiapane. Got around Stetcher, heading for the net, using the net as a bit of a screen. Ran out of real estate out to Bouchard. Now Ekholm left point. Leon Draicidl with a game tied at 2. Beautiful dish. Shot, Savoy. Save made by Hildeby. No one better on his backhand. Draisaitl's taken over that mantle from Sidney Crosby, in my humble opinion.
Well, that's saying something, because Sid's pretty good.
Ekholm will grab it. Fires a dart up the right-hand side. Beautifully fielded by Draisaitl. Slithered a saucer pass across. Broken up. And Toronto played that well. Looked like a dangerous situation. Bouchard up to Draisaitl. One-handed ahead for Savoy. Another good pass, but the Leafs have it well defended in the middle of the ice. Stetcher was there. McCabe thought he was taken out, and I think he's going to be right here. But Colson might be guilty of an interference. Let's see what the call is. Time 14:02, and put Colson indeed to the box for interference. And when we come back, it'll be Toronto with its first power play of the night. The Leafs are just 3 for their last 30. They'll look to change that and regain the lead when we come back to Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. The Oilers and the Leafs tied at 2. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network. 6 minutes to play, second period. Feels like an important power play at this juncture of the hockey game. Could swing a little momentum here. Craig Berube's Toronto Maple Leafs in a 2-2 tie with the Edmonton Oilers, who on the penalty kill this year, shade over 80%, middle of the pack in the NHL. Austin Matthews just broke a 16-game dry spell on the power play. One-timer ripped, and Matthews had a good look and missed from the top of the right circle. No one on the Leafs has more than 2 power play goals all year. It's been a struggle. Matthews feeds the point, Riley across. Next to last in the league at 14.5%. Matthews loading up, dishing, wrist shot, Tavares, and he missed. With Matthews, Tavares, and Nylander, Bob, I know they're missing Mitch Marner, but it's hard to believe
it is.
The Toronto power play is this woeful.
Long change here in this period for Edmonton, and they got an icing.
Well, no icing, of course, on the kill,
right,
but here's Riley.
Yep.
Dropping it off for Austin Matthews. Savoy falling back. Lazar, Nugent Hopkins had started. Now it's Savoy and Henrique out there on the Napa Auto Parts penalty kill, and Henrique right on cue with an interception in the slot and a clear. Regula and Nurse complete the penalty killing quartet. Flashing in is Matthew Knies. He'll swing it around the boards. John Tavares. Game tied at 2. Here's Austin Matthews. Riley up top. A shot, save. Jari, rebound available. And Jari stopped it against Matthew Knies. And the rebound hammered up the left-hand side. Did that nick the glass?
It got the glass. Oh, yeah.
Or the netting, rather? Okay.
Yeah.
Glass netting.
Glass netting, yeah.
And then out of play. Okay, so 4:41 to go in the period. And still 43 seconds left on this Toronto power play. But the first unit's getting called off here.
Adam Henrique, of course, his father-in-law is a former Toronto Maple Leaf. Stumpy, Steve Thomas, a real good second-line player for a long time in the NHL.
I always think of him as an Islander.
Well, he was here in Toronto.
I believe you, but I mean, did he not have his best years, dare I say it, on Long Island? Or maybe I'm wrong there, but I certainly remember him as an Islander. Probably as a Penguin fan growing up, I guess. Here's Domi, a shot by Ekman-Larsson, a save made by Jari. Ekman-Larsson, another drive and another save by Tristan Jari. Here's Easton Cowan. Ekman-Larsson, who directed a great Arizona power play for years. Now Domi fires up top, and a tough save made by Jari. Shrugged it away with the right shoulder. Now Cowan, between circles, looks for a lane. Oilers have it packed in. One-timer. And Ekman-Larsson stopped again by Jarry from distance. Domi, Ekman Larson, another shot. Jarry makes the save, and the rebound swatted away from Nick Waugh by Matthias Ekholm. Domi threw it across, no one home. Ekman Larson tried to jam it back in. It popped off an Oiler and into the third row with 3:49 to go in this second period, and the game tied at 2. Boy, Toronto kept firing away, and Tristan Jarry able to find the puck. Tough save on Domi, who had that puck ticketed for upper left corner, and Jarry stayed tall.
Yeah, he did. Didn't look like he tracked it the one time, but Stumpy, 3 years with the Leafs, 5 in Chicago, 4 years with the Islanders, then another stint with the Leafs. So 2 separate stints with the Leafs, and a multiple.
His best years with the Islanders.
Well, he had 35 in Toronto, Jack, and 26 and 28 in Toronto, 37 and 42 with the Islanders. So
his best years with the Islanders.
Have you ever lost? I really missed you over the last few games. Have you ever lost an argument? Like, does Emily say, no, Jack, you're right? Because I don't, you know, like, my dad's only advice, and he's long since gone, but he said, Bob, I'm going to give you some advice when you get married. Allow Kathy to make all the small decisions and understand there are no big decisions. So I'm just wondering, in your marriage, did you... We got a little delay here as Jarry's at the Oilers bench.
Jarry's getting his equipment looked at. 6'4", Tristan Jarry, and I'll tell you what, he needed every inch of that on that shot from Domi, who, you know, Domi's offense in terms of goal scoring has really fallen off the last couple years, but that was a good, hard shot upstairs, and sometimes if you go down on your knees, make yourself small, that's going to find the upper reaches of the net. McDavid on to Draicidl. Following the successful kill, a 5-on-5 shift for McDavid and Draicidl with Hyman. Hyman down low, buried by Yarncroke. Toronto on the puck. Stetcher trying to fight off Draicidl. Shot, and that squeezed through. Stastny got it on net. Rebound sitting there for just a moment. And now an attempted clear. Stastny will settle it down. Now it's stolen by Matthew Knies. He'll streak up ice. Around Stastny to the net with a wrist shot that's stopped by Jarry. Yeah, I thought Emberson had him closed off, but Knies was able to get the shot away. Now a drag move on Emberson inside, trying to get it to Matthews. That does not pan out, and Toronto will change. Emberson to Draicidl. Swung it right into the skates. Up the right-hand side, Robertson on net. Backhander pushed wide. Lawrence couldn't get it on net. Here's Janmark to Adam Henrique. Back to Janmark. Pulls up in the corner. Nurse faked one-timer. Now a dangerous centering pass went off Benoit, but sailed just wide. Rebound cleared by Robertson. Janmark back to the Toronto line. Thrun is able to pump it inside the Oiler blue. And now you've got Nurse and Regula trading the puck. Janmark, left side, Adam Henrique into the corner. Frederick, Janmark, Regula, Darnell Nurse. Whipped around the boards. John Tavares will reach it first for Toronto. He'll flash it around the right-hand side. Nylander, the return offering broken up, and now we have a puck that came outside the zone, and Edmonton will be whistled for an offside as Ekholm tried to sneak it back in. $1:59 left in this second period. Been a good hockey game, and the numbers are now dead even. 2-2, and the shots are 23 apiece, and that's indicative of one of the better games, quite frankly, Bob, we've seen in the first 32 in terms of quality of play.
No question. A little bit different looking line here as the Oilers loaded up with David Draicidl, Hyman for a shift. Nugent Hopkins at center here.
Face off, corralled by Riley. Here's Tavares looking left side for Nylander, broken up expertly by Bouchard. Nylander will try again. Tavares, right wing, pulls up top of the circle. Tried to sneak one through the wickets of Savoy and then intercepted the lead pass from Ekholm. Otherwise, Savoy was thinking go-ahead breakaway. Ekholm off a dump in. Took the hit to make the play to Bouchard, and the Oilers will bust out here. Right to left comes Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, swooping in with a feed to Mangiapane, a shot, and that was guided to the corner by Hildeby, and the rebound ends up on Stetcher's stick, up to Jake McCabe. He'll reach the red line and fire it in deep as we come up on 1 minute to play in the second period with a game tied at 2. Each team has led. Connor McDavid has scored both Edmonton goals. Nurse to Savoy. 55 seconds remaining in the period. You've got Mangiapane. Checked by Wall. He'll dump it behind his own net. And it's McCabe to Robertson, across to Stetcher. Looks up ice. Angled one ahead for Domi. Now Nick Waugh trying to get inside Regula. Kept it alive for Robertson. Flicked it into the slot, but no one home. And now Draicidl will set McDavid loose. Cuts to his left. Out wide. Back to Draicidl. Cross ice. One-timer. Score! Darnell Nurse! And Edmonton has regained the lead at 3-2. What a play!
Well, Zach Hyman was driving the lane there after McDavid drops it back on his backhand of Draicidl across to Darnell Nurse. Rips it home, his 6th goal this season. Edmonton leads. That was a nice finish from Darnell and a wonderful pass from Leon Draicidl. And just a great thrust from the Edmonton Oilers up the ice in transition.
Way to put the brakes on. Bob, in case our listeners didn't realize, was worried about a potential interference, but there was nothing approaching it.
Oh,
he gets into bad habits when I'm not around. I got to rein him in.
It's like we've done 16 years together.
Larson to Domi, a shot deflected up and out of play. 12 seconds to go in the second period. The things that I wish we could bring our listeners inside the conversation, I look over and he knows exactly that I've caught him dead to rights being Chicken Little, but the sky is not falling.
I thought you were going to be on me for deploying the word thrust into our broadcast.
No, that's okay with me. Edmonton's up 3-2 on Toronto. Nurse for McDavid and Draicidl. And that play, the go-ahead play, Bob, again, I don't want to belabor this, but we've really seen a high-quality hockey game tonight.
No question.
Matthews wins the faceoff. Riley a shot. That was deflected away. On the right half boards, grabbed by Matthews. One-timer slammed on net and a save made by Jari. Now, he wanted to move it, and he's frustrated with a quick whistle from Furman South because Jari's point is, hey, let me spoon it into the corner and the period's over.
Right.
And he's unhappy. And I think Furman South is saying to him, you know what, I might have anticipated. That was a quick whistle. Draicidl entrusted with one more face-off win here against Nylander. Ties him up off the draw. Ekman Larsson won't have time. The horn goes. And the Edmonton Oilers, after falling behind 2-1 early in this second period, answer with McDavid's second, a bank job off his former teammate Troy Stetcher, and then Darnell Nurse finishes a gorgeous three-way passing play off the rush. McDavid and Draicidl, the helpers, and Edmonton has regained a 3-2 lead with 20 minutes to go. The Oilers and the Leafs, nothing if not entertaining. And tonight, Bob, in a season where we've seen the compressed schedule, I think, have an effect on the quality of play at times over the first 30 games on both sides. Well, tonight, both teams have close to their A game, and as a result, it's been a highly entertaining affair. 3-2 Edmonton after 2.
Yeah, these two teams are going at it pretty good here, and again, if you're Toronto Partners and you're saying, well, hey, we're down a couple D, and if you're the Oilers, you're looking at it going, Jack Roslovic was the Molson Cup winner for the month of November. That's how good he was. We still have not seen Edmonton. Like, Toronto's got their healthy scratching Matthias Maccelli. That's an NHL forward. And they don't have...
It's a guy with a 57-point season 2 years ago.
Right, he's a pretty good player. So Toronto's got some depth at forward right now. Edmonton's playing a couple forward short with the injuries to... obviously Roslovic and Kapanen, and then Wallman on the back end as well, who hasn't gotten to the level that he was at, I think, last year when he came over. But
and the Leafs are down their 2 starting goaltenders.
Right.
And now, Carlo and Tanev.
But this guy...
No, he's been pretty good.
This guy looks good. And
for
me, Tanev's the big one, because I think Chris Tanev is amongst, like, the position of defense. The number one thing a defenseman has to be able to do is defend. And Chris Tanev can defend. He is a great defensive shutdown defenseman.
Here's why I like Carlo on this team, though, because Ekman Larson, Riley, outside of McCabe, they don't have a lot of grit on their back end. They don't have a lot of size.
Well, that's the
Carlo brings
and a right shot.
Right. So, look, I'm not saying both teams are necessarily at the full strength, but I think considering the personnel they have, we've seen a high-quality hockey game. Again, Bob will go right back. Tristan Jarry on that Toronto power play, I thought, acquitted himself quite nicely.
Well, who do you need to have as your best penalty killer?
Your goaltender.
And in the case of both teams, the best penalty killer for the respective teams and the best work they've done in the game has been when the opposition's been on the power play.
So Toronto briefly took a 2-1 lead. McDavid second of the night, and then Nurse with a go-ahead goal. He's playing about 30 minutes away from his hometown, the Hammer. He said he eased up on the ticket allotment tonight, said call someone else. But bottom line is, those who did made it to watch Darnell play have been rewarded with the go-ahead goal. Nurse's sixth is the difference right now after 40 minutes. It's Edmonton 3, Toronto 2. Brendan and Rob are next. This is Four Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. 3-2 hockey game as we head to the final period. The Edmonton Oilers having regained the lead after falling behind 2-1 with 30 minutes to go in this one. McDavid got his second of the game, banking in and off. Troy Stetcher leads all Toronto players in ice time tonight. And then Darnell Nurse right before the break, 31 seconds to go in the second period, finishing off a brilliant three-way passing play for McDavid and Draicidl. And McDavid wins the draw from Austin Matthews, and now the Oilers look to close it out, leading 3-2 after 2. Edmonton has let 4 games get away after leading through 40 minutes. But Toronto, only one come-from-behind victory all year when trailing through 2. Here's Ekholm sending it off the side of the net. Oilers go to work in the attacking zone. McDavid turns, flips it into traffic. I think he was looking for Nugent Hopkins to put that one upstairs. Ends up in the corner, and Toronto gets a clear. Fired back in by Connor McDavid. Here's Zach Hyman on the puck for Edmonton. Works it around the boards. McDavid dropping it off for Evan Bouchard. Weaves his way into the high slot. Shot Nugent Hopkins. That disappears. Again, Toronto has won 19 of 25 between these two teams. So the Oilers trying to break through here. Wow, McDavid with an aggressive forecheck took it away from Hildeby. And once again, Toronto is bottled up. Edmonton's able to roll over the lines, put Colson around the boards. Regula snapshot, but tough save made by Hildeby. He had put Colson screening him in front. And an excellent minute 13 to start the third period, turned in by the Edmonton Oilers, who lead the game 3-2.
Regula has had some offensive moments. He walked a man earlier, got a great look. That time, another good play, but there's been some challenges defensively in this hockey game.
Draicidl able to pull the face-off back to Regula. Now protects the puck in the right face-off circle. Turns and fires, and that's tipped home. Vasily Podkolzin extends Edmonton's lead to 4-2.
Well, the Oilers have given one up off of a face-off loss, and they've scored one off of a face-off win. Craig Berube and the coaches down at the Toronto bench looking to see if Podkolzin was in the paint on the goal.
It's his 7th from Draicidl. And the Oilers take the first 2-goal lead of the night.
And it's
Toronto's taking a long look at it.
It went in off his skate unintentionally. And Vasily's going to have
this
the goal. This is a goal. They want the puck for some reason.
Well, Leon Draicidl, remember, Bob, is now at .998. So I'm not sure, but maybe Draicidl wanted the last couple. I don't know. But he's at 998 points.
Whoa.
As a puck dumped in from center ice, and as you could hear, my partner got a little nervous.
Wow. It's been a couple times today where pucks just have come out in front on Edmonton when they've had the opportunity of puck possession.
And Alec Regula has just collected the first assist of his career. His only prior point was a goal against Calgary in April of 22. So in this, Alec Regula's 40th National Hockey League game, he picks up his first career assist.
Well, that's probably why they got the puck, Jack. What do you think?
Now I think it's probably the first assist for Regula rather than .998 for Draicidl. I'm just preoccupied with the fact that we might have 1,000 points coming up, and there's .999. Draicidl, the centering pass, and Podkolzin finishes. His second goal in less than a minute, and Edmonton all of a sudden is pulled away. It's 5-2.
Well, Vasily Podkolzin goes to the paint. He's a big man. Great little pick by Savoy. Drops it off to Draicidl. Centers one in front, and Podkolzin was being checked by Morgan Riley, but got his stick in the right spot for deflection redirection.
2 goals in 34 seconds for Vasily Podkolzin, and the Oilers have busted this game wide open, and Draicidl sitting on 999 points. Now you have to admit, I willed that to happen. You give me...
You keep going. Keep willing some more.
You always point out whenever you perceive I've given a whammy. How about that one? Up to Janmark. He'll bump it in from the left-hand side. Twisted by Hildeby, but cut off. And this crowd has been completely quieted. Scotiabank Arena, the dual home of the Toronto Maple Leafs and the primary resident Toronto Raptors, for whom this arena was built. Hammered in from distance. Big hop as Lawton shot it in, and Robertson took advantage of that hop. More of what Bob was talking about. We've seen some juicy ones come out in front, but he missed the net as well. Savoy will get the second assist on Podkolzin's second goal in 34 seconds. Here's Matt Robertson with the Leafs down 5-2. Another wrist shot pushed wide. That's twice he's missed in the last half minute. Nick Waugh tried to center. That was well defended. Bouchard at the outlet to David Tomashik. And now it's floated through the middle for Curtis Lazar. He's defended by Waugh. Coming over to pry the puck free with Stetcher. The Oilers have scored 4 unanswered goals to turn a 2-1 deficit with 30 minutes to play into a 5-2 lead with a little more than 16 minutes left in regulation. Regula at the line for McDavid, left to right. Oilers looking for more. Nugent Hopkins. And now Regula. Nurse. What you don't want if you're an opponent of Edmonton is for the Oilers to start sensing there's blood in the water. And they do right now. Matthew Nyes spills it in. They finally gotten to Hildeby. They've gotten 4 goals in the last 13 minutes against him. Regula to Nugent Hopkins. He'll shoot it in. McDavid took it away from Benoit. Nugent Hopkins protects in the right corner. Been impressed with how Edmonton's come out in the third period. Yep. No nursing a 3-2 lead. They attacked, and they were rewarded for it. Matthews to Nyes. And he'll get it in deep. Nurse drops it for Regula. And as Toronto makes a line change, Edmonton under just token pressure. Nylander chasing Regula and Nurse, who just trade the puck back and forth, and finally hoisted out by Nurse through the middle. Henry Thrun angles the pass up the boards. Nylander out of the reach of Bobby McMahon, and the Oilers on the counterattack. Podkolzin to Savoy. Swung it back. Shot Stastny, caught cleanly by goaltender Dennis Hildeby. And 5 minutes have been played in the third period, and the Oilers have owned it. And they lead by a count of 5-2. And Draicidl on point number 999. That's the biggest storyline right now in the game.
That and the fact that David's got 2 goals and an assist. He's got 15 points in his last 5 games, Jack. That's pretty good.
But that's the 13th time he's done it in his career. Yeah. So I'm now focused on 999. I think you're going to lose this one, too.
No, you're right. Now, Podkolzin gets a hat trick?
Well, that'd be there. Slapped away from Frederick. Emberson fumbled it, and here comes Scott Lawton at center ice. Right to left come the Leafs. Lawton floats one into the corner. You've got Stastny up the left-hand side. Here's Stastny looking for Janmark, bumps it back. Henry to Frederick. Chipped up the left-hand side. Janmark will settle it down. Nudged out in front, Nick Waugh. Up to Cowan. He'll shovel it in. Ekholm on his backhand will send it up the boards. That's going to be intercepted by McCabe. Across, a shot taken by Stetcher does not make its way through. But on the rebound is Lawton. But when he put it in the middle, Henrique was there to make the steal and ultimately chips it safely back to center. Knocked down by Stetcher, who will be whistled for a hand pass, and we'll take timeout. We played 6 minutes here in the third period, and all of a sudden, the Oilers have taken complete command in Toronto. It's Edmonton 5, the Leafs 2. Is that a portent of things to come? My partner might tell you it is. We'll see. Leon Draicidl sitting on .999, and Connor McDavid and Vasily Podkolzin, each with 2 goals tonight. Oilers lead in Toronto. We're back in just a moment with Four Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Recording resumed.
Connor McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Face-off win for Austin Matthews. It's 5-2 Oilers with 14 minutes to play. And as this sent in deep, Jari watches it into the corner. Bouchard takes a hit from Matthew Nyes, and Connor McDavid looking to dial it up. And streaking down the middle of the ice, already with 2 goals and an assist. Nugent Hopkins off the rush, a shot and a save made by Dennis Hildeby as the Oilers are peppering the Maple Leafs.
That one got McDavid on the inside of the leg, the shot from Nugent Hopkins. And it stung him a bit. He's going to be okay, but when you got a back-to-back, should mention the Oilers got a couple extra bodies here. Riley Stillman is a defenseman, and Max Jones, who always brings lots of energy around.
Draicidl digging in between Savoy and Podkolzin. And it's tugged free by Nicholas Waugh. Chipped in by Stephen Lawrence. Shot off the rush, and that was fought off by Tristan Jarry, who now has 22 saves in his Oiler debut, as he looks to go 10-3-1. He's 6-4 lifetime head-to-head against the Leafs. Of course, saw plenty of them in his 10-year run as the often starter for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Lazar out to take a right-side defensive zone draw.
Best year for Tristan Jarry, 34 wins in 2022. The problem was he injured his foot late in the season, was unable to play the first 6 games of their first-round series against the New York Rangers, and then playing on a bad foot, lost Game 7 in overtime to New York, and that was the last time the Penguins made the playoffs, spring of 2022. The next year, Regula will bring it in from the right-hand side. Pittsburgh appeared certain to claim a spot. Draicidl feeding Nurse. A shot and a save made by Hildeby, as again, every time Draisaitl's on the ice, could be 1,000 points. Bob, you and I were watching Pittsburgh play at home to last place Chicago in Colorado. We were in Colorado, and the Penguins lost that home game to Chicago. It cost them a playoff spot in 2023, and Jarry never got that close to the playoffs again.
Yeah.
That was a shocking result.
I mean, the fact is, Jarry's only had 8 playoff appearances.
Correct.
So he doesn't have a proven track record of winning in the playoffs. But the analytics guys will tell you that's a pretty low sample size.
Lazar.
And that year you mentioned that he won, what was it, 34 games?
34 in 2022.
Yeah, he was over plus 25 goals saved above expectation. He had a real good year. Was an all-star that year.
2-time all-star.
Yeah.
His other all-star appearance was 2 years prior, the season that was cut off. Here's Lawton, shot off the rush, Henry Thrun. Jarry in this game just made his 23rd save. Rebound taken by Lazar. He'll backhand it over to Stastny, and it's played up the left-hand side and grabbed by Benoit. Edmonton 5, Toronto 2. 12 1/4 remaining in the third period. Leafs looking for a push here. Bouchard defending the line well against Lawton. Toronto wants a change. Domi and Matthews hovering. Poked up to center by Janmark, and now Nyes cut off as he hit the Edmonton line. Lobbed the other way by Bouchard. Taken by Riley, fired it into the skates of Domi, and Bouchard's there to take over for the Oilers, who now can work the clock a bit. Ekholm up the left-hand side. Trying to find Janmark. Broken up by Ekman-Larsson. He'll rifle it in deep. Max Domi with possession in the offensive zone. Riley a shot, and that was tipped up on the plexi by Matthews. Here's Ekman-Larsson behind the net. Bouchard. Henry sent up ice by Ekholm, and all of a sudden a 2-on-1. Janmark tried to throw it across, and Ekman-Larsson was able to recover and intercept that pass intended for Frederick, but now he's going to be guilty of an icing call. 11:14 to go in the third period. And Bob, I'm not trying to pull the whammy here, but I do want your thoughts on this. Austin Matthews, I mean, and we were told this coming in. He's had a quiet year. What do you see when he's on the ice?
Doesn't seem to have. Okay, first of all, when he plays with Marner opened up the ice for those one-timers that he would get, but he doesn't look like he's got the quick stick going, Jack. That's one of the things that I notice.
McDavid wins the face-off back to Darnell Nurse. Connor McDavid thrust off balance. Regula gives way. Nugent Hopkins. Official is shaken up. It's Furman South. He is hobbled. I'm not sure he's going to be able to finish this game. We'll try to cut out this shift. Nugent Hopkins in tight. Hyman could not get a shot away cleanly, and Tavares manages a clear back to center as South tries to gut this one out. Regula back to McDavid, charging in, shooting, and that was tipped. Rebound, punch forward, stolen back by Hyman against Nyes. Here's Nugent Hopkins to the net and stolen away. Maybe one extra pass, backhanded in by Hyman. And Edmonton has turned this game into a rout. 6-2. Hyman, who had a hat trick on Thursday with his 6th of the year.
Well, a 3-goal third period here from Edmonton to separate against the Leafs. And Nugent Hopkins unselfishly tried to feed McDavid for the hat trick. Then Nugent Hopkins stripped McCabe. He'll end up getting an assist as Zach Hyman scores his 6th goal of the year.
The second effort of Nugent Hopkins, I thought he was unselfish to a fault. Then he broke up McCabe's ability to clear the puck and teed it up for Zach Hyman, who flipped it home without any problems. And Zach Hyman, the former Leaf.
A goaltending change.
Yeah, we're going to see Artur Akhtiamov. Bob didn't want to say the name, didn't think we would, but he's in with 10:32 to play. Hildeby is done, having stopped 26 of 32 shots. Here's what we know about Akhtiamov. 4th-round pick in 2020. He's in his 2nd year with the Toronto Marlies. 7-5 record save percentage, just below 900. But while a Russian goaltender, he did not play in the KHL. He played in that first-tier league below. So that's his story. 2nd year in North America. And here's Andrew Mangiapane for Curtis Lazar. Akhtiamov, who's actually 2 years older than Hildeby.
Well, they've done a good job drafting goalies. And again, they don't have their top 2 goaltenders. Joseph Wall, very good pick. 2nd rounder for the Leafs. 3rd rounder, rather. Early in the 3rd round, 62nd overall.
Here's Tomashik driving behind the net, wraparound, a save made, a rebound cleared. I should mention, Akhtiamov was drafted as an 18-year-old, Hildeby at 20, so they're actually both 24. My apologies. Want to get that right. Punched forward by Tomashik from Stastny, and the Oilers are going to be able to ride this game out. And now the only lasting suspense with Edmonton up 6-2, as I fearlessly forecast going to break a few minutes ago. Now let's see whether .1000 is in the offing for Leon Draicidl. Here's Matt Savoy into the offensive zone. Serves it up for Bouchard. His pass intended for Draicidl broken up. Henry Thrun will lay it off the glass and out. 9:10 to go in the third. The Oilers have to be aware he's at $9.99. Do they not?
Oh, yeah.
Draicidl the drop for Matt Savoy. Left side for Vasily Podkolzin. Around to Draicidl, protecting against Max Domi. Now double team by Lawton. Bouchard across and a shot on net and a save made by Akhtiamov against Matthias Janmark, and that's going to be his first NHL save. That's also going to be a timeout for us from Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. Edmonton exercising some demons, about to claim just its 7th win in 26 games against the Leafs. It's Edmonton 6, Toronto 2. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Recording resumed. Pause. Button Alt.
Adam Henry between Trent Frederick and Matthias Janmark as Bob grooves to the mellifluous tones of Rick Astley in the background.
You know who looks a bit like him? Kyle from Sportsnet.
Kyle Bagauskas. That's actually not a bad read by you. Here's a shot and a save against Spencer Stastny by Akhtiamov. And now a shot landed by Frederick on Simone Benoit. The tilt I wouldn't mind seeing is Frederick against Jake McCabe, who flattened Alex Tuck earlier this year.
Yeah. Now there's a problem for Frederick if he does engage in a fight.
Because he's got 14 zippers in his cheek.
Like, I don't think he should fight, because he takes one anywhere near the orbital bone or the eye and he's going to be leaking.
Here's Henry lining up against Nick Waugh. Yeah, he said the swelling wasn't that bad, but it's still quite sensitive.
Well, I mean,
he's got 2 interior and then 12 exterior stitches. Frederick wins the face-off across Stastny to Emberson. That shot smothered by Cowan. Big hit again. Frederick on Benoit. Tugged free by Adam Henrique. Too hard with that pass back to Emberson, and now driving down the left-hand side is Cowan. And Emberson shielded him from the puck expertly, and now a nice play by Stastny, avoiding trouble in the form of Stephen Lawrence, driven in by Emberson, and there a glimpse of Stastny's excellent skating that we've heard a lot about. McCabe a collision with Frederick, a centering pass that does not reach its intended target, Janmark. Stetcher under duress in the corner. Henrique won't let him loose. Stetcher snatched the puck back, threw it into the feet of Cowan, who managed to get it through Alec Regula. 6-2 Oilers. A terrific third period. Started with the first shift. Edmonton dominated the first shift, scored shortly thereafter, and has subsequently put the game away. Remember, Toronto led 2-1 with 30 minutes left. McDavid a centering pass, tipped away from Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, who's able to regain. Hyman scored the 6th goal for Edmonton and his 6th personally this year. Remember, he missed the first 18 games or so. Here's Nugent Hopkins. Curled it back to Darnell Nurse. Down low. Hyman 2 27-goal years, a 36 and a 54 in Edmonton. Career high in Toronto was 21 twice. Domi with a clear up the left-hand side. Matthew Knies. Drop pass. Matthews couldn't reel it in. Neither could Max Domi. And here comes McDavid and Hyman. Crisscrossing. McDavid to Zach Hyman. Waits. Dishes. Emberson jumps up. Shoots. And a kick save made by Akhtiamov. Came in for Hildeby when Edmonton extended to a 6-2 lead. Now Mangiapane wheeling and dealing. His pass down low, out of the reach of Lazar. Stastny in the corner. Lazar tried to tuck it short side. Not there. Stastny back on it for Edmonton. Wearing the number 24, by the way.
Travis Dermott was the last player to wear number 24.
Morgan Riley up the right-hand side. Lazar, shot by Tomashik and a save made by Akhtiamov. And I'm starting to hear some boo birds out in Toronto's Scotiabank Arena. Frustrated with this performance turned in by the Leafs, who right now are slightly off the playoff pace in the Eastern Conference, but it's so jammed up in the East. Just the other night, we saw Detroit fall from first to third with the loss to the Oilers, but Colson thought he had gotten through Lawrence, but no. And it's an icing call against Edmonton with 5:54 on the game clock, and the Oilers in command at 6-2. Again, front end of a back-to-back in Montreal tomorrow.
Last score 4-4. Rangers and the Canadians that we have. Jack?
And Montreal had led that game 3-0 at one point. Oilers will have an easier path of travel.
4-4, about 11 and a half minutes left.
Benoit, a shot and that whistled, was heading well wide of the mark. Jarry will lay it to rest and get a face-off for his hockey club, and we'll take one final break from Scotiabank Arena. Edmonton, 5 unanswered goals on a 6-2 lead at Scotiabank Arena in downtown Toronto. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. 6-2 hockey game. Edmonton about to win the first of its 5-game road trip, which continues tomorrow in Montreal, and then the Tuesday engagement with Pittsburgh, where Tristan Jarry will start against the Penguins. He started tonight, and he stopped 22 of 24 in his Oiler debut. But how about this third period turned in by Edmonton, leading 3-2, heading to the third. The Oilers have outshot the Leafs 10-2 and scored 3 times to put the game away. An emphatic third period performance. I'm not sure the Oilers have looked better considering the caliber of opposition and how well the opposition has played all year. Here's Matt Savoy in across the line. Draicidl wrist shot just missed. Looking for 1,000. But Colson with 2 goals tonight. McDavid 2 goals and an assist. Matt Savoy trying to lodge that puck against the half wall. Can't do it. Robertson advances through to Lawrence. Crossing to Robertson. Shadowed by Draicidl. Shoveled down low. Here's Podkolzin. Take off, Leon. Draicidl sends it ahead for Matt Savoy. He'll shovel it in from the red line.
He just missed Podkolzin.
Yes.
Backdoor tap in for the hat trick.
Edmonton a line change. Yeah, Draisaitl not thinking about scoring a goal for .1000. He's focused on the Podkolzin hat trick to illustrate Bob's earlier point about what would be the bigger story. Draisaitl at age 30. And he's got a playmaker tonight with assists on 3 of the 6 Edmonton goals, giving him 999 for his career. McDavid hit 1,000 last year in a home victory over Nashville, I believe. Backhanded in deep by Cowan. Grabbed by Regula up the left-hand side. Matthews plucks it off the right half boards. Beautiful feed and a good save by Jarry. First time he's been tested in the third period as he robbed Calle Jarnkrok. Coming up on 4 minutes remaining. Chip softly out by Frederick to center. Slugged back in by Morgan Riley. So the Leafs, who blew a 2-0 lead against San Jose against the Sharks on Thursday, gave up a late goal to former Oiler John Klingberg, and then Wenberg had the overtime winner. Now they lead 2-1 through 30 minutes tonight, and they've given up 5 straight. Here's Nugent Hopkins off to Andrew Mangiapane. Mangiapane filling in for McDavid on this line with the game already decided.
He's going to put McDavid,
Draisaitl, absolutely,
and Podkolzin.
And he's looking for 1,000. Here's a centering pass. Great play by Benoit to poke that away from Nugent Hopkins, who was all alone in the slot. And now, here comes Connor McDavid over the boards, challenging Matthew Knies. They're looking for 1,000 with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Podkolzin. And what they'd like, of course, is the 1,000th point to come on Vasily Podkolzin's first hat trick. That's the objective right now for Edmonton. 3 minutes to go. The Oilers clear through the middle. Bobby McMahon off to Stetcher. Up the gut. You've got Robertson. Podkolzin pestering. Up to McMahon. Charging in against Stastny. Lost the stick. A backhand. Robertson a second chance. And then another third opportunity. And all repelled by Tristan Jarry. Shot clubbed over the net. Morgan Riley picks it up on the left half boards. Robertson spins against McDavid. Has it knocked down by Draicidl. Shot from distance. Backhanded wide by McMahon on the deflection. And then the lead pass. It's Draicidl with McDavid. 2-on-1. McDavid one time and he flubbed it. He got it back on his backhand. Cross ice. Draicidl can't tuck it home. Unbelievable. A 2-on-1 for 1,000. And it doesn't happen. Here's McDavid from Draicidl. Trying to wrap up a Stetcher. Inside the Nurse, broken up. Here's Morgan Rielly, and he'll ice the puck for Toronto. Now do you take a timeout if you're Edmonton? A minute 58 to go in the third, and you're not going to, of course, leading the game 6-2. But that was interesting. Draicidl 2-on-1 with McDavid, who fanned on a one-timer that would have been .1000 for Leon Draicidl. And, oh, by the way, would have given McDavid a hat trick.
Yep.
So here's Curtis Lazar lining up against Scott Lawton, who wins the face-off cleanly. Morgan Rielly launches ahead for McMahon. Nurse up the gut, Lazar. Now Regula. In across the line, centering past Lazar, a shot sent wide. Rebound, Nurse will take it off the corner boards. Down to Mangiapane, kicked out into the slot. And cleared ahead by Nick Waugh. Shot in by Cowan. Nurse bumped it up the left-hand side. You've got Mangiapane. Out to Lazar. Tomashik in over the line. His shot ends up high and grabbed off the end boards by Cowan. Henry Thrun tried to feed the middle of the ice. Lazar picked it off. Now Mangiapane swatted away from him by Thrun. Final minute. Third period. Edmonton 6, Toronto 2. A terrific outing turned in by the Edmonton Oilers. Arguably their best performance of the year, quite frankly. Here's Bobby McMahon. A shot deflected up and out of play. 52 seconds to go in the third. Because I think through two periods, the Leafs played the Oilers on even terms. They did not play poorly tonight.
But you said it. The first shift of the third period, McDavid's line went out and dominated. And then boom, boom. Two quick ones from Podkolzin on setups from Draicidl. And it was game over.
Face-off win for Lawton. Cross-ice pass and a one-timer blasted in. McCabe to set up. And on an off night for some of Toronto's top players, Steven Lawrence will hammer home his third, and this line has been a factor all night. Lawrence with a goal and an assist, 6-3.
Yeah, a little sleepy there. That's a play that the Oilers used. Henrique got cleaned up in the draw by Lawton, who's a good face-off man, and a little bit of a misread defensively, and it ends up in the net.
Not much Jarry could do.
Nothing.
And give up the seam, and that's something that Edmonton still needs to work on.
Yep.
That's a long seam pass to be completed. And we saw it on the second goal as well, scored by Ekman Larsson. Lead pass, Simone Benoit, checked by Emberson. Stastny on the puck for the Oilers, up the left-hand side, not out. Henry Thrun. Down low, coming out of the corner. McMahon tried to go inside from Lawrence a second time. That was bumped away. Thrun with 15 seconds to go. Shovels down low. Another pass up top. Thrun. Look for Lawrence. Turned and fired. That shot was blocked, and the rebound cleared by Trent Frederick. And this will die at the goal line, and the Edmonton Oilers have put away the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-3. Tristan Jarry, the win, finishes with 25 saves. He's now 10-3-1 on the year. And a wild, 34 hours ends for Tristan Jarry in victory in an Oiler uniform after he lost to Montreal on Thursday. Calvin Pickard will get the start tomorrow, and the Edmonton Oilers have started this road trip in victorious fashion, beating the Leafs 6-3, just their 7th win in 26 games against Toronto. But more importantly, Edmonton now 4-0-1 in its last 5 games, and a season best record of 4 games over 500 at 15-11-6.
Wow. I mean, their best players were the best players. The best players on the planet were the best players on the ice tonight. And that's McDavid and Draicidl were just awesome at tonight's hockey game. I mean, they really were. Just a stellar. Okay. We got Vasily Podkolzin. Vasily? Hi, it's Bob upstairs with Jack Michaels. You guys won it was an even game, well-played game, both teams in the second, through 2 periods. You turned it up another notch in the third, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, we played much better on the third, obviously, and got lucky, got a couple of bounces there, and finally scored.
Now, Vasily, I have to say that it did appear that a certain number 29 was trying to get your first hat trick tonight. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I think he tried. Next time, whatever.
And were you guys trying to get him .1000? Was that talked about on the bench at all?
I mean, not on the bench, but like before the game, we know it's 5 away right now. It's 2 away, so gonna be big. Gonna be a huge road trip for us.
Vasily, today, we saw Tristan Jarry come in. I mean, obviously, it's always tough to lose guys like Stu and Brett Kulak that were part of your team last year that went to the 6-game Stanley Cup final. Yeah. Just a thought on what you thought of Tristan tonight.
Oh, he did a great job. He obviously had a tough road trip yesterday, and he make some big saves for us, and win a great game for us, and we're excited about him, and hope he wants us to win.
Vasily, as a team, let's go back maybe the last 3 weeks since maybe the Washington or Tampa game. Is this the best stretch of hockey, do you think, the team has played all year?
I think, I hope it just starts, and we're starting to play much response and manage the puck pretty well, and I think we'll keep building on that.
Congrats on the win tonight, pal.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's Vasily Podkolzin with a pair of goals tonight. A fun night for the Oilers. Obviously, Connor McDavid playing in his backyard with 2 goals and an assist. Draicidl, 3 helpers. As you said, Bob, yes, the best players were good, but I also thought some of the supporting players had quality nights tonight and good debuts for Spencer Stastny and Tristan Jarry.
Yeah, Jarry was good. Stastny was quick. He gets the pucks and he can make plays. Jack, I'm going to throw a number at you and you're going to go, Vasily Podkolzin with the 2 goals tonight at even strength, 5-on-5. 5-on-5, he would be the leading goal scorer, 5-on-5, and leading point getter, 5-on-5 on the Vancouver Canucks. This trade has worked out. The Oilers got him for a 4th-round draft choice. He is.
You and I never could figure it out because he seemed like Rick Tocchet's kind of player. Did not pan out. And Vasily Podkolzin, as you know, Bob, is in the top 3 in the National Hockey League right now in terms of his even strength plus minus relative to his teams. He's top 3 in the league.
Well, he got another +2 tonight. So, right. I mean, he is a very good, you know what? He is a very good second-line player. That's, I'm not even going to call him middle 6. He kills penalties. He's honest. He will fight. I mean, he fought Jeremy Lauzon last year and dropped him, right? Like, he's a big, strong man that retrieves pucks, turns over pucks in the forecheck. And I think in time there will be more offense there for Vasily Podkolzin.
Well, again, I mean, he was drafted 10th overall. We're not talking about, some chump off the waiver wire. This is a guy who was drafted 10th overall. Sometimes it takes longer than others. Remember, 3 years ago he scored 14 goals for Vancouver, and we thought he was going to explode off of that. Instead, it totally dried up for him with the Canucks. He's been a valuable asset for the Oilers. Moving forward, road trip continues tomorrow night in Montreal, which is playing a whale of a game right now. They're probably, down to 3 minutes left in regulation at Madison Square Garden. The Canadians play a lot of exciting games, including the one played in Edmonton. It wasn't the most well-played game. Oilers survived 6-5.
Oilers were lucky that night.
Yes.
They got a couple gift power plays that got them back in the game.
Marty St. Louis has instilled a spirit in the Canadians. What do you expect tomorrow night?
Well, I'll be Montreal's had some challenges in goal. Whereas, Toronto was a team that is middle of the pack, in save percentage in the league, they're 11th, and the Oilers are 31st.
Well, Hildeby came in at .933 in his 7 starts.
And he got touched for 6 on 32. But you look at the Canadians, they, like Edmonton, have had challenges stopping the puck this year. And then we're going to see Calvin Pickard. He's going to get the start. He gave Edmonton a great start in Tampa. And conversely for the Canadians, I would assume we're going to see Dobish tomorrow because they went back with Fowler for the second consecutive game after he beat Tristan Jarry in Pittsburgh on Thursday night.
And I thought Pickard getting the win in Seattle, and again, not in Seattle, but against Seattle. Granted, he got 9 goals of run support, but that was key for him. He hadn't won a game in about a month.
He needed that.
So Calvin Pickard will have some positive vibes heading into tomorrow night's start. We'll have it for you at 5 Mountain Time. Bob will be joined by Cam Moon.
It was fun, Jack.
For that broadcast. It's always fun working with you. We'll see you after the holidays. You'll get me for back-to-back games. I know you can't wait for that.
I'm going to have a lot of eggnog.
Oilers win this game
With
going
rum.
away 6-3. Tristan Jarry in his Oiler debut with 25 saves, and a banner night for Connor McDavid with 2 goals and an assist. Vasily Podkolzin scored twice, and Leon Draicidl 3 assists, now sitting at 999 points for his often fabulous 11-year career. The Leafs fall to 14-12-5. The Oilers improve to a season-best 15-11-6, and they get off the schneid against a team that's tormented them for the better part of the last decade. We'll have Edmonton, Montreal, the rematch tomorrow. Again, the Oilers beat the Canadiens earlier this year, October the 23rd, and Podkolzin had the winner in that one on the power play as Edmonton rallied from a 5-3 deficit to win 6-5. It'll be the Oilers and the Canadiens tomorrow right here on the Oilers Radio Network. Until then, for Bob Stauffer and, of course, our pals Brendan Escott and Rob Brown, this is Jack Michaels saying good night from Toronto's Scotiabank Arena. The final score, the Oilers 6, the Leafs 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the pleasure was all ours. The Rogers postgame show starts